Top Trader is brought to you by Sanlam iTrade and powered by Pegasus, now with a new Iris trading platform.
Vote for your favourite. Who do you think will be CNBC Africa's Top Trader 2012? Tweet us on @TopTraderTV and use the hashtag TopTrader2012. Or you can tell us on CNBC Africa's Top Trader Facebook page. Before the top 3 are revealed, mentor Ashraf Mohammed has an informal chat with the top 5.
So, morning guys. This is obviously not a feedback session, but more of a discussion about the way forward for you guys, your experiences on Top Trader. And I just wanted some of the thoughts of how different it is. I know that, you know, in our individual discussions, we've discussed how you've traded with your own cash. And has that really changed for you?
In the last 6 months, where it's become quite public that I've been learning the stock market since a young age, and am involved in the investment world, the amount of people my age and even way older that have approached me and said, please teach me, or here, I'll give you my cash, manage it, has been like insane. I wouldn't expect that at all. And honestly, thinking right now, if I had to add it all up, I'd have a few millions to manage. However, lots of them were family and friends.
I know, Gary, you manage some of the money for your father, isn't it?
I sort of just, it's more a case where we both we like the markets a lot, so we chat about it a lot, and we kind of discuss stock picks, etc., etc. So it's not like purely I'm managing his money like that. So it's more like a general, we sort of have ideas on how we think his portfolio should be and what we do with it.
Yeah, I must say I found it easier to take risk on clients' money, and very calculated risks, than actually managing family money.
For my grandmother, I mean, I have taken some losses, and I've had to justify those losses, but still, that's always been, I'm not necessarily trading my own account, on my personal account, saying, I've got money that I'm trading, because essentially, I mean, I'm 21, how much money do I have,
Well, so my question to you is, do you have dinner with your grandmother after you've made her losses?
No, my grandmother wants to report why I made those losses.
We're not gamblers. I hate it when someone says play the markets. No, I'm not playing the markets. I'm not playing the markets. It's not a game. Like, it's high pressure, and you're responsible for someone's cash. I mean, people go to tribunals for losing a ton of money. And in fact, that was the biggest thing with when I found out that these two were thrashing around money so much. I was like, how do you reconcile yourself to that? Like, for 6 months, how are you going to tell your clients? I mean, you can make a ton of money, but if in one day you get blown 60%, how are you going to tell that to your client? What were you doing? Like, I'm going to want to know what you were doing when you lost 60% in one day. Sure, the market lost 60% too, but I mean, you shouldn't have been throwing it around like that. I mean, it's, I don't know.
You remind me of a saying in the market, the guys say, how quickly can you make $1 million? And the answer is you start with 2. Because if you take that sort of risk, that's how you're going to lose money very quickly.
For me, risk management was the most fundamental aspect of my portfolio. Looking at the risk factors I took into play, if I look at the 6-month period and I look at my losses, my biggest single loss on a share was about 3,000 Rand. I'm obviously trading bigger sizes. That's quite a small amount, considering some of the profits were far greater than that. So risk to me was very, very critical and very important. What was also important to me was to show myself and my clients, as in the judges, am I learning the tools that I've been taught during the 6 months? Am I adapting based on the advice that the mentors have been teaching? And if you look through the 6 months, especially since adding in costs, adding in volume controls, did I improve once those measures were in place? And the answer is yes.
Well, Ken Hubbard said the safest way to double your money is to fold it over and put it in your pocket. But if you want to triple your money, you have got to take risks, calculated risks, and that's what top trading is all about. Welcome to the elimination round. It's crunch time, Narina.
Absolutely, guys. I want to start by congratulating you for making it this far. You're looking at our top 5 contestants in Top Trader 2012, and they've certainly had a great journey so far. But today's the day where we actually have to decide on our final 3 to make it through to our final stretch.
It's been a stressful week of trade, guys. The performance over the last week, you have had to show your returns, and that, of course, is one of the factors that we're taking into account today. But before we start off with that, we thought to ease some of that stress, we thought we'd give you a little bit of a prize. And we've got a prize here from Discovery Vitality. It's a Discovery Vitality Executive Fitness Kit. And of course, you can all hit the gym in your own rooms or in your own houses. So one for each of you, just to let off a little bit of steam there. And I see some of you might need it.
You've certainly stretched yourself, you've pushed your luck at some stages, and now it's crunch time, and I think this is an all-in-one kit to do that.
And there we go. One last for promise. There we go. Well done, guys.
Thanks to Discovery for those prizes.
Okay, so let's take a look at what your guys' strategy has been over the past week, because as we said, today's performance is based on your returns over 1 week after costs.
That's
and
right.
that, of course, is something that you've all had to get used to, apart from the fact that it's more about realistic trading volumes. So, Koite, let's start off with you. Tell us about what your strategy has been over the past week and whether it proved fruitful for you.
For the past week, my strategy had to adapt a little because I couldn't trade intraday. Taking into account what happened from the previous episode with trading costs, I felt that it was important for me to pick 2 stocks that I felt were reasonably priced and that were positioned themselves to have a decent rally. And in hindsight, I must say that I stuck to my guns and I actually didn't trade throughout that whole week.
I'd like to find out the motivation for not trading at all, whether that was a conscious decision or, tell us, why did you not trade?
Take into account how the market's been generally. There've been abnormal moves here and there. But I've just been seeing some bloodshed across the board. So, I just took the conscious decision, I'm in it. And if I try and get out, just the cost alone are going to cripple me. So, if I'm down 1% or 0.5%, I shouldn't get scared and I shouldn't panic. And I'm hoping that the other contestants have been, panicking and moving in and out for my sake.
It was an interesting strategy, Khwetse, to basically say let's minimize trading costs and allow the choices that you'd made in the past to run. I compliment you for that strategy. Even if it doesn't necessarily pay off over this one particular week, I think I'm proud of the fact that you stuck to your guns, you made a decision, and not trading irresponsibly, I think, was a very good step for you to take this past week. So, Saul, this last week, tell us a little bit more about your strategy and what you traded in over this last week.
Well, on Friday, I decided I'm not going to change my strategy that I've had all along. My strategy's always been to look for prices, as you know. So I looked on Friday, and the market was incredibly red, so I never traded because it just wasn't worthwhile. Monday, I looked, the market was getting a bit better, and I thought it's time to take some positions. And for me, the most successful position I took was definitely Impala Platinum. They dropped 5% on the Tuesday, and I thought it was a bit oversold based on looking at the technicals and the fundamentals of what was going on. And I decided on Wednesday morning to take a bold move and go all into Impala Platinum. And over the 2 days I had them, they went up very nicely. I sold out at a specific target that I was looking for. So based on the 2 shares that I picked, both I managed to trade positively after costs. So I was very happy with that. And Impala was really my winner for me.
Yeah, I think that was a very interesting trade to do, especially in the light of what we've had, the experiences in the mining sector. We've certainly seen the mining companies underperform the physical commodities. And I think in your 2 trades of this week, trading within the commodity space, but one in the physical, in the exchange traded note, the other one in the company, you saw the benefit in both, but it was a very good trade in Impala. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Gary.
Yeah, ups and downs, I think, for me. I had a position coming into the week in Vodacom, which it's turned out to be probably one of my best trades throughout the show. In the space of a week, because of the fees and stuff we're charging, we can't do that many trades.
Yes.
So then I was in Vodacom, that was about half the portfolio, so I needed another trade. Got into SAB, which was also a good trade, and I was in the right position. And I should have held on to that, sadly. I closed that out too early. And then what happened there is, you know, I'm now thinking, because it's not just based on, we're competing against other people. So I wasn't sure then if what I'd done then was enough to get through to do as well. So then I've sort of forced into it. I took a trade that I wouldn't have taken under a circumstance where I'm in sort of a...
Was the grudge trade?
Yeah.
Was this your MTN trade that you're talking about?
It was the MTN trade, yeah.
I'm sure that you feel on Business Connection that having almost been forced to sell out of it, not that you had to, but you finally closed out that trade, which you've been holding for months and months. And if I look at the performance since when you first got into it, I mean, 12% up, it was a good trade for you in this particular week, sort of comparing the price from the entry level to out. Yeah.
It suddenly sold down maybe 5 or 6%. And I'm a bit worried because I know they're under cautionary, and so there's possible sort of talk of a takeover. So now, I believe markets are efficient, etc. But I believe if someone sees that it's not going to go through before it comes out in the sense, they're going to trade on that.
Yes.
So I believe that it's only at these prices because it's under cautionary.
Yeah.
So take that away, it's going to come back down to the levels that I was buying it at. So then suddenly I saw a big drop. That's the big seller. Maybe someone's got a whisper somewhere. So that was the reason I sold it.
You know, you often find a situation where what we would call buy on rumor and sell on fact. So as Gary did, he bought as soon as that cautionary came out. That's really like a rumor. So you don't really know what is the deal that's going down or why they are trading under cautionary. It is a more risky trade, but if you do it in a controlled, in a proper manner like Gary did over this period, I think he showed us exactly how to play that and explained it very nicely.
There we go. So let's move on to Jared. Jared, your strategy over the past week.
I got into 3 different trades in the past week. The most successful one being Mr. Price. I made a few percent after costs of Mr. Price, which gave me a nice head start. I also traded ETN, New Silver, which I would say to viewers as a good punt in the near future. It didn't move in the expected time of the week that I needed it to move, but with silver prices increasing, I think in the next few weeks we will see a jump, just unfortunately outside of my week.
And Promise, talk to us about your strategy.
No, I don't know. It's my strategy was, I mean, first thing I thought of was the time. I thought, okay, there's not a lot of time, and with the costs, you know, the only way I'll be able to move in more than, or well, trade more than twice is if I make money off of the first couple of trades, you know. So I mean, I got home on Thursday. I did a bit of work. I found on my current watch list something I liked and sent in an order. Didn't get matched on Friday, but you know, I did some work over the weekend. Got another watch list. You know, first preference didn't get picked. I had to move to my second and third. Third hasn't moved as much, you know, and the second choice it moved down. And
sounding very confusing. Really, can you sum this up for us, please?
It was just.
Have you had much sleep, Promise, in the past week?
I haven't, you know what? I've been writing exams, trying to juggle this, but I don't know, it was really a frustrating, you know what I mean?
I think we saw a classic example there of doing your research and knowing from a paper basis or a theoretical basis what the trades are that you want to be doing. But to actually get them executed in the market is not necessarily something that will happen. So many of Promise's trades have been in the smaller cap shares, the less liquid shares. And what you typically find in reality is that if you want to buy, you've got to find somebody that's going to sell it to you. So theoretically and on a paper basis, and your analysis might show that this is exactly the trade that you should be doing, but the reality is that in the market you actually don't find the counterparty. And I think that's where part of the frustration for Promise came from, but I think it gave him a very good taste of the reality of trying to trade in something where there's not necessarily the counterparty at the level that you would like to have it.